Hello everyone, Ollie here from Leeds Talk Cinema, and I'm here with Rusty, he's behind the camera. Hello! And we are here to watch Until Dawn. We are a little bit late, but better late than never, as the saying goes. So, obviously, for people that don't know what Until Dawn is, what's the matter with you? No, it is based on the PlayStation exclusive game that originally came out on the PS4, back in 2016, something like that. And then it recently got remastered on the PS5. Was it a remaster or remake? Remake, right. So yeah, the remake came out, and shortly after that, Rusty bought his copy, and I had no money at the time to buy it myself. So I was like, could you maybe lend me the copy, or did you offer? I can't remember.
I think originally I offered for the for you to try it out, at least for the film that's coming, because I knew of the film that's coming.
Yeah. Okay, so apologies if we get any pauses as we're in a car park. No, it's not the best place, but there's nowhere else we can really go. So anyway, as I was saying, Rusty lent me his copy of the PS5 remake of the game, and while it's not a game that I loved, I thought it was quite clever. Kind of a Telltale-esque kind of game where you choose your own adventure, but choose your own paths with these different characters which you play individually. It's not like unless it's kind of different, but Minecraft Story Mode, you pick a character, like a Jesse character, but you get to play each character that's in the game, I believe, other than the main characters, the teenagers or young adults, whatever. But that was the interesting thing, and then having the twists and turns along the way in the game was quite fun. But yeah, is it the best game I've ever played? No, but it's fun. So coming into this, I wasn't sure about it until now. Me and my directors, the director of this film, David F. Sandberg, who, for people that aren't in the horror community, he started off doing short films on YouTube, and at one point he made the short film called Lights Out in 2013, I think, and it was being contested in a challenge which it didn't win, but it got a lot of acclaim and got a lot of views, millions of views, and to the point where I think someone from Warner Brothers, like a producer, I can't remember his name, but there's a producer that got in contact with him saying, actually plenty of people did, but was one particular person said, we'd really like to adapt this into a feature-length film, would you be interested? And he was like, yes. So that happened, the feature film came out, which I did rewatch this morning, and yeah, the short's great, the feature's good, and then he went on to make a couple of films in certain franchises, horror and superhero films. So he did Lights Out, the feature film. Then he did Annabelle Creation, which is a spin-off in the Conjuring universe. People that are, again, in horror know the Conjuring universe. That's one of the only good Conjuring films that isn't the Conjuring film. But anyway, then he went on to do Shazam, the first Shazam, which was good. Which was kind of a change for DC, because it's all like dark moody, and then you got Shazam's like, yay! So, Shazam came out, and then I think then he did Shazam, the second one, because I don't think he did another one after that, I don't think. And then now, I feel like I'm missing one, but I don't think I am. So then he did Shazam 2 years later, and then now he's doing Until Dawn. So, since then I've become a fan of his, and seeing a bunch of his behind the scenes videos of his short films. It's really cool how, even though he's become a big, well, I say big, but a relatively big filmmaker, who's still uploading on his channel for many years later. This is really cool. So he's a very humble guy, he seems really cool. Yeah, so just by that, having his director's title, whatever, in the credits, in the crew, wherever, is intriguing. I like his work. Heard a little bit, I don't want to go into too much detail in the production side, but I've heard that he was very much wanting to go onto the practical effects side of the film and not go into CGI, because as we all know, with practical effects, they age better than CGI effects. After hearing that as well, great things. However, a lot of people, when the trailer came out, typical most people, but some I can forgive at a certain degree, but a lot of people weren't happy when whoever announced that they decided not to go down the game route so much. I mean, they were going to adapt a few little tidbits, but like the story mostly, the characters as well. Like, there's no characters in this film as we know. I mean, there's one character which is in the trailer, so we can say it's played by, if you know the game, Dr. Hill. I think is it Dr. Hill? Yeah, Dr. Hill. I've forgotten the actor's name, but it's the same actor, but he's not playing Dr. Hill. He's playing like a gas station guy in a shop or something. I saw him in the trailer. It's quite cool. I was like, hey, it's the guy. I wish they kind of kept it, but yeah, it's cool, little nod. But yeah, the character's completely different. For better or worse, it could be good. Could be, as long as they make them likable in a way, and we can connect to them like the other characters. Well, most of the other characters, there's some that I don't like, but we won't get into that. So we're going to be quick so that I can get the hand over to Rusty. I hope it's good, of course, as with every film we go watch. I like the kind of, the aspect they're going to for the film, like, because obviously with film adaptations in particular, especially with this kind of game, where it's choose your own adventure, let's just say that, where you play individual characters, that's not like a film is different. Even though it has cinematic aspects in the game, it's different the way they portray it, so they had to do something different, which I can respect. And it's hard to do something like that in film form, so whatever way they try and do it, I hope what they do here, they do well, because from the trailer it looks quite interesting. They even had like the little glass, what do you call it? Hourglass, there you go, thank you. But yeah, like that kind of thing, where they come back to life again when they die, which I don't know how I feel about that, because I think in the game, you might have to remind me if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, when they die, they don't come back to life, do they? Yeah, so that's the thing, that's the kind of about that, because it's like, it's the stakes, it's like, oh, he's gonna die, but with this, it's like, if they're going to die, it's like they come back to life anyway. So it's like, I don't know if they're going to try and change that midway through the film, where something happens and it's like, oh, this is it, your last life. It's like a Jumanji thing where you have a certain amount of things and then you die, you're dead in the thing. So I hope that happens, because if it's not, then there's not really any stakes to be had, because yeah. But anyway, I hope it's good. David Sandberg, I have faith in you, man. I hope it's good, but I've been trying to avoid reviews, but the reviews I've heard, as usual, with game adaptations, they always try and butcher things. So I purposely, one last thing, sorry, is that I've purposely, because Rusty said to me, are you going to not replay the game, but are you going to look back, because I did some Let's Plays for Rusty, because he wanted to see my reactions and my choices, and he said, oh, are you going to revisit those, just to remember stuff, and I was like, yeah, maybe, but in the end I decided not to, because of hearing that this is not going to be adapted in the same way as the game. I decided I'm not going to do that, because I don't want to attach myself too much to that, and I'd rather base my own opinions on the film itself. So I purposely didn't look back on my choices or the game itself, because I didn't want to lean myself and attach myself to those characters, to that story and everything else. So I'm kind of going in, I remember like tidbits of the game, but that I'm glad I don't remember too much, so I hope it's good. I hope it's a good film on its own terms. So yeah, I don't have much else to say. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to pass it on to Rusty.
Hello! Right, so, as we stated, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go through this. The game, I like it as well. I think it's a pretty nifty, interesting game from start to finish. Maybe there's like a slow bit at the beginning, like the setup. We're not trying to get too much into it, but overall, decent game. But as you stated at some part, you said that's the stakes of people dying. Your choices affect these characters, meaning if you get someone killed, they're gone from your story. You gotta finish it with that person dead. And I've played the game twice, and at this exact same point, I somehow managed to fail to save, I'm not going to say who because spoilers, but I failed to save my favourite character. I won't say who, but they're my favourite character, but every single time I get them killed and I'm just like, no! And then I see the credits and obviously they do their like police interview whatever at the end, and it's I'm just like, I wanted to save you, I tried twice. But another cool thing about the game is that you gotta don't move. Now I'll tell you one thing, the PS5 version I swear was way more sensitive, because I played the PS4 version and you could put it on like just the floor and it'll be dead, you'd be great, you'd be fine. But doing it on the PS5, your very tiny jitter in your hand, just like that, and your character, not the character, but the sensor would go crazy, and that bugged me a lot as well. And I tried to look for fixes or anything, but no, it's just the way they made it. So making that happen at the crucial moment where my favourite character ends up dying because of that really annoys me. But overall, good game. I'd say it's about 7 out of 10. Good game. The remake looks beautiful, by the way. It's a beautiful looking game. It had its issues, but they've been fixed. But overall, good game. Anyway, moving on to the film. Now, as you stated, and we know, it's not too accurate to the film. They didn't want to go too close to the thing. Now, I can see that in a few different ways. I call it the Uncharted way, where the first Uncharted film takes elements from the games, just like this one will, I'm sure, but creates its own little story within the universe, it's a separate universe, but creating its own story with set pieces and moments from the games, but having the characters do something different and make it, something fresh for fans. And obviously some fans are like, it's not like a game. To me, that's the point. You're going to have references, but it's supposed to be a completely different experience for you to enjoy. I like the Uncharted film. I hope the second one's coming. Mark Wahlberg said it would, so I'm hoping. But we've got to wait for Tom, most likely. Anyway, so same sort of thing for this film. It'll take elements, I'm sure. I've seen two elements, maybe a few, but I've avoided everything for this film. I actually heard pretty much nothing, so other than maybe like the first trailer. So I'm looking forward to what this new, it's a new story within the universe of Until Dawn. If they didn't follow the plot, because as you said, it's a choose your own adventure kind of game. Choose your own path or whatever. It's kind of hard to turn into a film, so you have to pick like the true ending or their own ending, and that kind of get mucky. It's like, oh, I wish that character died because that shouldn't happen, blah 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 blah. And so they end up just going, well, instead of just doing that, we'll just create our own idea within this universe. And I think that's a better idea, because then the game will always be the game. I'd love to see adaptations of it, and I'd love to see references to it, but if you can't recreate the game on point, I wouldn't bother, which is why I kind of like the Last of Us TV show, because I know this is completely different, but I'll keep this really, really short. The Bill section, I much prefer the game version, but the TV show version is just as interesting. So it's a decent swap, but I do prefer the game. But at least they did something different, so there's always something new, a new experience. Anyway, moving on for that. That's not the point. I think that's it so far. Anything else?
So we've talked about this before, but for any new viewers, hello. For people that don't know, I'll just quickly spin around me because it's a bit weird. Like, hello. For people that don't know, again, for new viewers, I'm a horror fan. Rusty is not. Rusty is not a horror fan, but there are exceptions, including this, so he can talk more because it's his experience. So,
I've got to keep this really quick. I hate horror. I don't like it one bit, but as he said, there are exceptions. Dead Space, I love that. Until Dawn, I can get through it. But for me, it's got to be the story and the gameplay that gets me. That's why I like those horror games. Resident Evil, I like the story, but I don't like the gameplay, so I'm not going to play it. So it's a bit of a wish-wash. So we've only seen one horror film together, Longlegs. It's a good film, just not my cup of tea. So this one, it's another horror film. I like the game. I do like the game, there's no doubt about it. Like, if I think, Until Dawn, I'll be like, yeah, I like Until Dawn. Yeah. So with this, will I be like, Until Dawn the film? Too scary for me, Like, what am I going to think of this film? So, find out. It's like with Five Nights at Freddy's. I like Five Nights at Freddy's. The jump scares get me, but I like the story. And with Scream isn't scary to me at all. Like, yeah, you get the jump scares, maybe, but to me, it's just like a thriller, really. It's just like, what's going to happen? And like the tense moments, but it's not scary to me one bit. I don't think there's a single bit that really got me, other than Scream 3 with the voice duplication magic thing. I thought that was a great idea, and I wish they did more with. But anyway, we'll talk about that more when the next Scream comes out, which, yes, we will watch together, and you will see on this channel eventually. Otherwise, we better get going. So we'll see you then. So roll the preview.
Thank it. Every night something new's trying to kill us.
What the hell?
He's getting up.
I'm just gonna go. Don't move.
What? Okay.
Till Dawn, rated R. Now playing exclusively in theaters.
We're waiting for a post-credit scene, but everyone's left. Yeah, so everyone else has left. Yeah, we're gonna wait and see if there's a post-credit scene. But yeah, we'll see you on the way out.
What you see right there is a full moon. Perfect for for what we just watched. Yeah.
Okay, so we are out, and it is pitch black, and it's scary. Where do I start? So, overall, I had fun. Especially sitting next to Rusty as well, being like, and I think it would have been a bit of a different experience if it was just me at home, not only being at home and not in the cinema, but with Rusty, who's not a fan with horror, and he's like, really gets scared as I. It's really cool. Not only that, but also plenty of references as well in the film as well from the game. More than I actually thought, because considering they said they're going to try and lean away from aspects of the game, then yeah, a lot of references, characters that were there that one particular character that I didn't realise that they actually were. It was a character that we mentioned earlier at the beginning. Yeah, anyway. I mean, actually, I just realised it's been over a week now, and usually our rule is to spoil after a week. So, spoiler ahead. The character I'm talking about that I thought was like, oh, are they actually going to play that character, or is it just like a little cameo thing? And it sounds like Dr. Hill is actually Dr. Hill. I didn't realise that the actor was going to be playing Dr. Hill in this. I thought it was just he was going to play the gas station guy and be like a little cameo. I was like, oh, is that going to be him? I wish we see him later. And then I'm like, oh my god! Especially later on in the film, in the third act, where the main character, Clover, she's the character who has a missing sister, and she's trying to find her. And at the end of the film, she confronts Dr. Hill, and he's in his outfit and everything. It's just the beard. I was like, oh, she could shave the beard off.
I don't know if you noticed as well, but in that room, when he was in the corner, the boarded up wall was exactly how it is in the game as well. Yeah, I was like, oh, great attention to detail.
Yeah, it's just the little details, even that Rusty just noticed as well. But I've only played the game once, and that was a while ago. But also with you, but you played it twice. Yeah, you played it twice, so you probably seen more details than I have. So, but yeah, from Dr. Hill. I've got to talk about the characters as well. We have to be quick because we have to leave soon. So, and it's late. So, the characters, even though they're completely new characters, the personalities are quite similar to the ones from the game. In particular, I think Clover had more Sam's personality, I'd say. One of the first one I noticed was, I think it was Gabe? No, something like that. Something like that. But he was like Mike with that kind of attitude, kind of like every man for himself kind of thing. And then you got, what's his name? Chris. Sorry, my mind's everywhere. Chris. Yeah, Max. What I'm trying to say is, that some of the characters' personalities match with the ones from the game. So even though it's not their characters, the personalities are quite similar, which is quite cool to see. Even though they weren't exactly the same, but they had the same kind of traits. The blood and the gore as well. I was like, whoa. I can't work out if all of them were practical effects or if there was some CGI effects, but either way, I thought they did great. What What else? Oh, David F. Sandberg's got a plenty of this. So in near the beginning of the film, when the game kind of starts, where the Until Dawn starts, where they survive. Just before then, I think it's Gabe who notices that there's wanted posters. David F. Sandberg's cameo. Not physically, he was in like a portrait, like a wanted poster with a bunch of other people, including his wife Lotta, who's usually his wife/actor in his short films, and also in the Lights Out feature film as well. So that's quite cool seeing those two. I had a feeling, I didn't really think about it while watching the film, like for cameos or anything, but beforehand I was like, maybe they might, because Lotta had a cameo in a couple of other films. But anyway, so characters very similar, traits and everything to the characters in the game. The gore again was very good. Depending, I know some of it's practical and some might be CGI. I don't know how much is where, but the atmosphere, I think some things like the rain at the beginning of the film, where it stopped. I was like, is that from the game? I don't think it was. Was it from the game? No, it was, so something completely different. I always have to double check with Rusty, because I'm like, is that from the game? I can't remember, 'cause it's been a while since I played it, but yeah, stuff like that, I was like, interesting. I don't know if there was any meaning behind that, or was it just audible? Okay, yeah. Well, it's just details like that, I just kind of, okay. The Wendigos, obviously, what's interesting with how they, like I mentioned at the beginning, they did each night was different. They had different things happen, which a lot of it was interesting. The water one was a bit okay. I mean, I didn't really like that one that much, because they were just stuck in a bathroom and all they did was just drink water and then that was it. I don't know, I'm a bit indifferent about that one. It was a bit I don't know, because the first night with the slasher dude that reminded me of Trapper from Dead by Daylight, the kind of brutiness. That's in the trailer. That's the main guy that was in the trailer. I mean, they showed briefly the Wendigos, but I think most of how they execute the nights and everything were for the most part good. What else? I gotta be quick. I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna say my rating right now, just so I have it in case we need to go. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think this is a good one-time experience, especially in the cinema, because I think when I'll rewatch it, maybe not, my opinions might change, but yeah.
What about some of the directing parts, like some of the cinematography?
Oh yeah, the camera shots. Yeah, some of the good camera shots as well. I mean, David F. Sandberg. Yeah, so the camera shots, but also the intensity of the scenes, with David Sandberg, with general horror films. I know you're not very familiar, but there are a lot of horror films where it's it's not very scary, it's just out there. But really well, there were some moments where I was on edge, and that's the anticipation of waiting for a scare. That's the scariest part, rather than getting it. It's anticipating, shit, what's gonna happen, when is it gonna happen? That's the scary part to me for a horror film. But they did that well. Yeah, I'm going to pass on to Rusty, and if there's anything that he brings up, I might quickly add it on if we have time. So, 7 out of 10, 3.5 stars out of 5. If you're a fan of the Until Dawn game, I'd say check it out, give it a go. I know a lot of people online are probably like, oh, it's not like this, not like that, but I'd say give it a chance. You might like it, you might not. To each their own, is what I'm trying to say. So, go check it out, and pass on to Rusty.
So, straight overall thoughts, immediate afterthoughts. I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would. I mean, I enjoyed the game, but I think in a slight different adaptation. Okay, I really enjoyed this. Now, to me, this is more of a sequel to Until Dawn, because we're going to touch on spoilers, of course, but it's been ages now. When Clover confronts Dr. Hill, and you look on the desk, you see a file of Joshua from the game, and I was just like, oh. And obviously, if you played the games, you know what happens. So, I see this as we moved on from that story, but Dr. Hill, there's still more to him to learn, because he was in the mind of Joshua, but in this one, he was real, but also, I'd say in the mind of Clover, because Clover is the only one that actually sees Dr. Hill. So, I know it's more going into theory sort of stuff, but even at the end when they tease, say like a sequel, they go back to a cabin in the snow. It's not the same cabin, but you hear the same whistling that Dr. Hill does throughout the film, and it's just absolute cinema. Absolute cinema, in my opinion. The music went with it, like the strings, everything. I thought was brilliant as well. I was wondering, because it's new characters, would I hate them? Is there someone I'm not gonna like? I think Mike in the game is my favourite, but the Mike version of this one, it's not Mike, obviously. I think Gabe. I think it is Gabe.
Something like that.
Yeah. I thought, because you said like, he kind of is like the Mike of this film, but he wasn't, obviously, because they've all got completely different, but they've got traits of the other characters. I didn't like him too much. He was alright, but I get everything why he did that. Because, everyone's going to react differently, which is what I liked. Everyone reacted differently to the situation they were in.
Who would you say is your favourite character?
Part of me wants to say Nina, but I do like Nina's the girlfriend of Gabe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one that wrote in the book.
Right, yeah.
I liked her quite a lot, but I feel like probably the version of Chris, Max, right?
Max,
yeah. I think he was probably my favourite out of all. But they were all good, I'm pretty sure. I actually enjoyed every single one of them. I wanted to know what was happening with going, because every time the night resets, I'm just like, what's happening with them? I want to know about that. And we did. It was really cool. Even like the nice slower moments I thought were really nice as well, because some films, they do action, like Jurassic Park 3, I love that one, but, it fits the tone with this, not because every night is different, and I really liked what they did here, because first night slasher, second night, I know it's just happened, but second night it might have been the water, third night, well, I'm not always, so much. My mind's just going because it's trying to process everything I've seen. Rating, I'd say a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this far more than I wanted. Because to me, this entire film had all sorts of different type of horror, like from the simplest, slasher to clowns, which I really I hate, and I had to put my hand up because I have an irrational fear of clowns, but I did find funny when Max booted it. I thought that was quite funny, and then immediately jumps into horror. But the thing I also found was that the explodingness, it's quite whoa, especially the way they used it, because Meg, she explodes completely different to others, and there's all sorts of different exploding, and it's just the way they utilize the different horror elements is creative, and I really like that. And they could even do it for funny moments, It's like even when you think oh, that bit's been horror, when you see that, oh, you're scared, but then they use it in a funny way, and it's just what? But it's great because it made you laugh, and just I don't know how to explain it, but I think the director, David Sandberg, he was able to utilize the horror and the funny. I think he managed to find a great balance.
Well, because obviously he did, obviously doing the horror stuff, Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, and then obviously doing Shazam and everything. Yeah. So having that kind of mixed together is good. I mean, not family friendly funny, but that kind of
Again, it's hard to explain. It's something you have to see yourself. I'd say my only complaint really was that it's extremely dark film. Sometimes even in the dark cinema, I was just what happened here? I could still make it out, but it's just I feel like you should turn the floor lights off and the lights up there. You've got to be in a really dark room to see this properly, and if there's any hint of light, turn that off. And of course, all the nods to all the references to the game, great. And I wanted to say again, to me, this is absolutely a sequel. And if we get another sequel, hell yeah. But, you can watch this standalone. You don't need to know the previous thing. But if you watch it, it enhances the experience. Just oh, that's Dr. Hill. That is actually Dr. Hill. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. Again, all the creative ways they die. they did something like the mask and like the eyes, and to me that was creepy. And then she gets hit by a car. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it completely creative. There's loads of different types of horror in this. The one I hated the most, like other than the clown, was something they showed on camera only for a few minutes, like only for like probably like 5 seconds. It's like this weird like cloak thing that goes really. I hated that. I have a fear of whatever that is, but I really hated that. I was like, oh no. Like, I got down in my chair. I did that. Yeah, I did all sorts because I'm scared. But it was like, I want to keep going because I'm actually really enjoying this. No, that does not mean I'm watching other horror films. The only reason I liked it is because it's attached to Until Dawn, so I knew the world. Oh yeah, like even when they tried to escape in the car, Gabe and Nina, there's a giant thing. You know, I was just like, what the hell? Wendigos, I didn't expect them to be in this film.
Really?
Yeah, no. When I remember when they started, like, you know, first announced it, I remember hearing people say, "Oh, there's
also known as the Wendigos." And we're just like,
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's another thing. The Sankatorium, whatever it's called, sanatorium, whatever. That's exactly from the game. And you know, like the chair that happened.
Oh, yeah.
If you like, I don't know if you caught this while you're playing it, but when you read the notes and stuff, and you know, even Mike says like, "Oh, they're torturing people in the chair," and you're telling me Dr. Hill's behind that? It just enhances the experience of the game as well, you know. And it's learning stuff. The mining accident, I think that is the game thing, you know. And this is like, yeah, maybe it's attaching it slightly differently, or maybe it's the same sort of mine just somewhere else, you know, because mines go on for ages. But it's there's so much to this film, you know. If you know that, like, because every night is different, and you have completely different experiences in those each nights. There's a lot of different information. You think that giant spooky thing in the fog? And the sirens? Oh, no, that's not important in the second night or the third night. Oh, but then the sirens come back for another. It's completely wacky, chaotic, spooky, but also really funny. And it was just like a hodgepodge of all of it. And he did it. I think it was, I don't want to say the word, but masterfully put together. I feel like there was a bit like cheesy dialogue. A little bit. There's one thing I didn't like when Clover pushed her sister onto the spike. I was like, it's a Wendigo. It's supposed to kill it with fire. You know, we'd just seen, like, probably like 5 minutes ago, Max was stabbing one in the head and it didn't die. And you just impaled it. Oh, it's dead. I was expecting it to go, you know, come back alive. But it didn't. So I was like, no fire. So, you know, there are a few things where it's just like, it could be a bit, could be a bit. You know, and then other than the darkness, other than that, I've only got minor complaints really. You know, it was like 1 or 2 sections in a film which only lasted for like 5-10 seconds out of the whole hour 45 film, and which is why I'm giving it a 9 because I really enjoyed it way more than I expected, and I definitely want to get this on 4K or Blu-ray, but preferably 4K because I have a 4K TV, but the smart TV does my head in. I won't get into that, but I definitely recommend you watch this. Even the crowd we had, we had a bunch of like girls in front, but to be honest, they were all right. They even cleaned up after themselves. Woohoo! And the people in front of us, they kept getting up for bathroom breaks. I guess I thought, well, why you do that? And we had 2 old people behind us. It was quite quiet, but I don't know how you explain it. But it was just good. It was just a good night, and I don't ever want to be in that situation where I have to survive until dawn. Absolutely not.
So you think that's it? So 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Definitely go watch, please. Because I want the sequel. I want the sequel. The sequel. It looks so good. Please.
Yeah. So yeah. No, you can't see me because of my hat and the lighting. But yeah, we had fun. Yeah, I definitely don't, for me at least, I think when I rewatch it again later this year when I do my ranking, I don't think this will be the same, so, the experience, so, yeah, check it out, in your local area, and, I'll see you guys in the next video.
Until dawn.
Bye-bye.